Sam starts off with a Rootbound Crag tapped. Tom plays a Forest and a Treefolk Harbinger, putting Leaf-Crowned Elder on the top of his deck. Extra plays an Overgrown Tomb tapped, while John plays a Command Tower. The turn moves back to Sam, who plays an Exotic Orchard, followed by Weaver of Harmony. He passes to Tom, who plays a Forest, and casts Bosk Benetier. He passes to Extra. Extra plays an Undergrowth Stadium as his land for turn. He then casts a Farseek, finding a Swamp. John plays a Plains, casts Clarion Spirit, and passes back to Sam. Sam plays a Swamp, and casts the Weatherseed Treaty, finding a Plains. He passes to Tom. Tom plays a Forest, then taps out for Leaf-Crowned Elder, before attacking Extra for 1 and passing. Extra plays a Forest, and casts a Rasta of the Endless Web. John plays a Plains, then double spells with a Mind Stone, and a Remorseful Cleric, triggering Clarion Spirit, making a Spirit token. He passes back to Sam. On his turn, Sam's Treaty triggers, making a Sapperling. He then plays a Hallowed Fountain untapped, paying 2 life, and taps all of his mana to cast his commander, Tom Bombadil. Tom decides not to reveal with Elder, which will be a common occurrence in this game. After that, he casts Nature's Lore, finding a Forest, trying to make up for his missed land drop, while also triggering a Rasta. Extra plays a Swamp, and casts Law, Spider Queen, making 2 2/1 Menace Spiders. He passes to John. John simply plays a Plains, casts his commander, King of the Oathbreakers, and passes. Sam's turn starts with the final chapter of the treaty, giving Tom +3/+3 in Trample. This then triggers Tom finding Inventive Iteration, with which he decides to bounce John's king and extras a Rasta, thanks to Weaver copying the bounce. After that, he casts Farseek, finding Jetmir's Garden, plays Nesting Grounds, and uses it immediately to move a lore counter from Iteration onto itself. He then attacks Law with his commander, and passes the turn to Tom. Stuck without a land, Tom casts Dormant Grove, triggering its effect at the start of combat, giving Treefolk Harbinger a counter, before passing the turn. Extra first casts Bushwhack, finding a Forest, which he proceeds to play, followed by the bounce to Rasta. John gets the feeling of deja vu as he plays a Plains and recasts his commander. As thanks, he also attacks Sam for 3 in the air, before passing to him. On Sam's turn, Iteration triggers again, and Sam tries to repeat what he did last time. John, seeing what the future has in store, responds with a Cauldron Haze, targeting all of his spirit creatures, making them phase out thanks to his commander, and giving Extra a spider due to a Rasta. After the dust settles, Sam plays a Spire Garden and casts Waking the Trolls, destroying Extra's Overgrown Tomb. He then attacks John with his commander and passes to Tom. Tom first goes to combat, triggering Grove, giving a counter to Leaf-Crowned Elder and transforming Grove. He then attacks Sam for 9, and after combat, casts Garruk's Uprising, drawing a card as it enters. Due to having a land destroyed, Extra's play is a recast of a Rasta, followed by a pass. Going into John's turn, King creates 4 spirit tokens. He then attacks Sam for 8, and after combat, casts Talise, Reverend Medium, who makes 4 more spirits at the end of his turn. On his turn, Sam first triggers Iteration to draw a card, followed by Waking the Trolls, turning Overgrown Tomb from Extra's graveyard, paying 2 to have it enter untapped. He then activates Nesting Grounds, moving a lore counter from Iteration to Waking the Trolls. Trolls trigger, and with the help of Weaver, make a total of 10 trolls. Bombadil then triggers, finding the Fall of Lord Konda, which exiles John's commander. Tom plays a Forest, and casts Ulvenwald Overseer, triggering Uprising to draw a card. He then passes the turn to Extra. Extra plays a forest, and finally casts his commander, Shelob, child of Ungoliant. After that, he attacks Sam with both his men as spiders, and Sam blocks with 3 trolls and a sapperling. Extra makes 4 food with Shelob, and the turn is passed to John. John first casts Soul Ring, followed by Drog Skull Reinforcements, triggering Clarion Spirit. Before attacking, Sam casts Generous Gift on Drog Skull Reinforcements, triggering Arasta. Sam is then attacked for 11, and Thalas makes 2 spirits at the end of turn. On his turn, Sam first triggers Iteration to draw a card, then Conda triggers, returning Overgrown Tomb to Extra, not before being tapped for mana. He then activates Nesting Grounds, putting a lure counter from itself onto Iteration, triggering its effect to flip. With that, Bombadil triggers, finding Fable of the Mirror Breaker, making a 2/2 token. After that, he casts the Kami War, exiling Thalise and Remorseful Cleric with the help of Weaver. John responds by sacrificing Cleric in order to exile Extra's graveyard. Finally, the turn is passed to Tom. Tom plays a forest, and finally casts his commander, Fangorn, Tree Shepherd, triggering Uprising. But before attacks, he is met with a generous gift from John, which destroys Fangorn and triggers both Arasta and Overseer. Angered by these events, he swings Overseer at John before passing to Extra. Extra simply casts a Nature's Lore, finding a forest, and solidifies his position with a Brood Weaver. John first casts Karmic Guide, returning Drog Skull Reinforcements, and then casts Drum Bellower, triggering Clarion Spirit. He then goes to combat, attacking Sam with 3 spirits, Tom with 9 spirits, and Extra with an elephant. This triggers melee, giving all spirits +3/+3. Shelob goes to block the elephant, Sam dies, Tom takes 36, and Extra makes a food out of the elephant. With having few options, Tom plays a forest, followed by Boundless Realms, finding 7 forests, triggering Arasta. End of turn, Extra sacrifices a food before going to his turn. Extra wastes no time and attacks Tom with all of his creatures. Tom blocks with all of his creatures to preserve his life total, killing Tom's board, Arasta, Brood, and 2 spiders. This triggers Brood, Observer 3 times, and Shelob 6 times. Having somewhat dealt with Tom, Extra pulls his hidden ace against John. He casts Silklash Spider. With a single activation for 1, he kills all of John's flyers, shrinking Shelob 15 times, and returning Arasta with token Karmic Guide. John left with a decimated board, sacrifices his Mind Stone, casts his commander, and passes. Tom plays a forest, and goes for broke, casting Genesis Wave for X equals 13. He ends up drawing 5 with Henge and Uprising, while following up with Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, gaining 2 from Henge and triggering both Uprising and Henge again. He then passes to Extra. Extra first casts Metallic Mimic, which is immediately sacrificed to Skyfisher Spider in order to kill Ashaya. He then attacks Tom with all but 1 of his creatures, finishing Tom off and passing to John. John draws his card, looks at Silklash Spider, and concedes.